Welcome back to Database History. In the story of any piece of technology, there are these key moments, these inflection points that change absolutely everything. For YugabyteDB, one of those defining moments was version 2024.2. Today, we're going to unpack why this wasn't just some routine update, but a major turning point that completely redefined its promise to everyone using it.
So, to really get the weight of this release, we first have to kind of set the stage. Think about the world in early 2024. Distributed databases, they weren't the new kids on the block anymore. They had officially graduated. This wasn't some niche experimental tech. It was the backbone, the essential plumbing for critical apps all over the world. The entire game had changed.
And when the game changes, so do the rules. The questions people were asking totally shifted. It wasn't about, hey, can it scale, or what shiny new feature did you add anymore? Nope. The market had grown up, and for their most important production systems, they were asking a much heavier question. Can I actually trust this with my business? The whole focus pivoted from just cool new innovations to rock-solid, bulletproof reliability.
And YugabyteDB's answer to that huge question? Well, it was the 2024.2 release. And this was a big deal because it was their very first long-term support version. Now, this was so much more than a technical choice. It was a statement. It was a promise to every single user that a new era of stability had arrived. Okay, so what does LTS really mean? Why should you care? Well, if you're running a critical system, your company's lifeline, it means everything. It's a guarantee that the version you're on will be supported and maintained for a long, long time. You're going to get security patches, you're going to get bug fixes, all without having to jump to the next major version every few months. It's basically the gold standard that says, yes, this is ready for prime time.
But here's the really clever part of that promise. YugabyteDB wasn't just slamming on the brakes. They weren't saying, okay, no more innovation, we're done. Not at all. The real commitment was to build this incredibly solid foundation that could still be the launchpad for future cool features. It was all about getting the best of both worlds.
So, making a promise is one thing, right? Talk is cheap. But how did they actually deliver? The proof was in the features packed into 2024.2. This whole release was laser-focused on hardening the database, getting it battle-ready for the most intense production environments you can possibly imagine.
And you simply can't say production-ready without talking about security. And man, did it get a massive upgrade here. We are talking serious enterprise-grade stuff. Robust role-based access control so you can lock down exactly who does what. Super detailed audit logging so you can see every move. Encryption everywhere, at rest and in transit. They even gave a sneak peek of queryable encryption. This wasn't just adding a few locks, it was building a fortress around the data.
And it wasn't just security. The day-to-day operational side got some serious love too. Things like time series optimizations, making it way faster for stuff like IoT data. Change data capture, or CDC, got a lot better, which is huge for getting data to other systems. And YugabyteDB Anywhere got even smarter, making it way easier to manage those complex setups that span data centers and the cloud. It's all about making life easier for the people who have to run this thing at scale.
Now, when you start to look at all these pieces together, the intense security, the operational polish, you realize they were building towards something much bigger. With this release, YugabyteDB was basically planting a flag and saying, hey, we're not just a distributed SQL database anymore. We're a full-blown data platform.
And this right here, this is the core of that platform vision. The goal was to give you the exact same experience no matter where your data lives. It didn't matter if you were in the cloud, in your own data center, or on some tiny device at the edge of the world. The tools, the APIs, how it all behaved, it was all the same. For a big enterprise, that kind of consistency is an absolute game changer.
And of course, you can't have a platform without thinking about the developers who are going to build on it every single day. The tooling got a lot better. Nicer command line interface, better UI. They even added little helpful things like schema suggestions. And maybe most importantly, they tightened up integrations with the tools developers live in, like Prometheus and Grafana, so they could actually see what was going on under the hood.
So, let's tie this all together. You have the LTS promise, the battle-hardened features, this grand platform vision. It becomes crystal clear. YugabyteDB 2024.2 wasn't just another version number on a release schedule. No, it marked the finish line of a huge, multi-year transformation. First, it became truly deployable. The platform was finally mature enough that you could confidently run it literally anywhere your business needed it to be. From a massive public cloud to a tiny edge device, all managed the exact same way.
Second, it was now defensible. With all those serious, enterprise-grade security features baked right in, companies could finally build systems that would pass the strictest security and compliance checks. You could actually defend your choice to use it.
And finally, with that big long-term support commitment, it became durable. This was the ultimate sign of trust. It was YugabyteDB saying, "We're here for the long haul. Build your most important things on us." Deployable, defensible, and durable. That was the trifecta they delivered.
And that really closes this chapter in the YugabyteDB story. The 2024.2 release was all about cementing the foundation, proving its maturity, and earning the market's trust. But that just leaves us with one very exciting question. Once you've built a foundation that's this durable and this strong, what do you build on top of it? Where does the story go from here? We'll dig into that next time on Database History.